I'm Sara Gilbert.
Darling, you got to let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
As the U.S. unemployment rate continues to remain high,
Many are faced with the decision of whether or not to change career paths.
Gilbert
And
Trevor Hochman
did just that, changing their career direction drastically. Both attended Yale College, both received high grades.
yet Lewis...
What did you do immediately after college?
did a shoe commercial. I also did life drawing classes. I was the naked guy in the middle. And as one of my employers said to me, don't you ever want to be something? And I said, but I am something. Because I was very much interested in performing arts. I just wasn't getting a lot of opportunities to do it.
So how did you get into performing arts?
When I was 13, they would bring to assembly programs a whole hodgepodge of cultural events. And one time they had a mime named Tony Montanaro. And I have never been so affected by a performance of any kind before or since. And I immediately set out to find out where you study to do this thing. I went to the HB studio where I met really the people who kind of set me on to what ultimately became my first career.
So how did your first career really get started?
One of the first people I met was Renee, who was 1 year older than I, and probably still is. And after I got out of college, I started working with Renee. The National Shakespeare Company was willing to start booking us, and this would have meant traveling a couple of months a year. So I had to face that.
Ultimately, why did you decide to change your career path and become a lawyer?
I think to some extent I was responding to pressures that I perceived from my wife and my in-laws that it was time to become a responsible adult. I say that knowing that the pressures would have come from me as well.
Was it difficult to come to terms with the fact that you were going to change career paths?
I wasn't looking back at that point because I really wanted to support my wife, and she was pregnant with our first.
Where do you work now?
I work for New York Life Insurance Company.
On the other hand, Trevor went to law school after college.
began working at a large corporate law firm called Davis Polk and Wardwell.
What was your life like while working there?
Initially, it wasn't so clear to me that I was leading a double life. I was really at a loss to understand how to reconcile this white shoe corporate elite law environment and this down and dirty underground sort of seedy underbelly rave scene that I was exploring.
How long did it take before you decided to change paths?
It took a long time. I resisted. It began to dawn on me that really I just wanted to fast forward through that stuff and say, you know, can we not, but say we did. And so that didn't last. After about 4.5 years, I decided I really have to just quit this career altogether and go on to something else.
And that's exactly what Trevor did.
For about 10 years, he lived at and ran an arts collective in Astoria, Queens called Wonderland. He played and toured with a band called Sister Monk for over 2 years, and now he works mostly on his own music, writing, recording, and performing.
Can you pinpoint what it was about that life that made you want to change?
It was nothing about that life. It was everything about me. I hadn't understood what was important. And so there were a lot of things that didn't feel right about that life. But the thing that was most wrong about it was the simple absence of anything sufficiently compelling.
The latest news for Trevor is that the factory space he's been running, known as Wonderland, is being turned into offices. Trevor sees this as a juncture.
I'm going to get the opportunity to devote myself to making music and to music as a career, meaning making money making music.
These two individuals took similar career paths, although in opposing directions, each changing for different reasons. Yet, ultimately, it all comes down to this one question. Are you happy now?
You know, it's funny. I am really very happy. I think I did the right thing for me. I sometimes wonder what I would have been able to create if I'd stayed in the arts.
By now, you're moving on to your third career.
You might say.
Would you say you're happy now?
Yes, I am happy. I'm definitely happier than I have been in the past.
Whether it's a choice between responsibility and following your dreams, or one created by the economy, try asking yourself what will make you happy.